Isang magandang umaga mga ka-DepEd at hello DepEd Philippines! Ako po si Paula Serrano Yaptanco at makakasama ninyo ako ngayon sa panibagong session ng Sulong Tungo sa Matalinong Pananalapi. Para sa ating unang topic, we are honored to have Attorney Clarence Joseph C. Zosa. Attorney Zosa, fondly called as AZ by his colleagues, is a bank officer at the BSP's Economic and Financial Learning Office, or EFLO. Here is Attorney Clarence Joseph C. Zosa.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Miss Paula, for that wonderful introduction. Isang maganda at mapagpalang umaga po sa ating lahat. Good morning, good morning. Hindi malayong karamihan sa atin sumusuko na sa tila walang katapusang problema. Problema na may always kakibat na gastos. Ayan. So, this morning, we would like to share with you some financial education messages and tips that could help you improve your skills in managing your financial affairs and also equip you with the essential knowledge to give you better decision-making skills sa usaping kaperahan. So, but then, more than just a webinar, this is a sharing. So, mag-usap po tayo. I encourage everyone to share your thoughts sa chat box para matututo kayo sa amin, kami rin matututo sa inyo. Okay? Alright. So, ngayong umaga, we will be discussing a very important topic. This is very important kasi for most of us, including me, nakakasama natin to araw-araw. Yung iba, nababalisa sa kakaisip sa kanya. Di ba? For some, kasama na siya sa almusal, pagising sa umaga, hanggang sa pagtulog sa gabi. Di ba? Hindi kanya bibigyan ng katahimikan. Gagawin niyang, bibigyan niyang thrill ang buhay mo. Ganun siya kaklingi. So, I hope you'd stay awake as we discuss, next slide. As we discuss the tips, basic things and tips about debt management. So, let me check my time. I hope nakapag-almusal na tayong lahat. Alam niyo, mahirap kasing mag-almusal ng kautangan. Sa totoo lang. Baka hindi kayo matunawan. So, anyway, nakakatuwang isipin. Pero sa totoo lang, marami sa pamilyang Pilipino ang nangungonsume araw-araw dahil sa utang. So, this is a good opportunity for us to learn some tips about debt management. Okay? So for a starter, let me show you this quick video. Next slide. Alright, good.
Umutang ay di biro, dapat siniseryoso. Pursigidong bayaran, hindi tinataguan. Umutang ay di biro, dapat siniseryoso. Di kinakalimutan, di tinatalikuran. Allowance ay tinitipid, paggastos iniisip. Mahirap umahon, pag sa utang nabaon. Nang makabayad utang, magbaon sa eskwelahan. Magdagdag kaperahan, umakit pa minsan-minsan. After school, mag-tutor, maglako ng pansit. Magtinda ng banana Q, o kaya sa malamig. Magbayad sa inutangan, nang sa bahay di maapektuhan. At mag-ipon ng todong ilas, nang gumanda ating bukas.
May I ask our webinar participants, ano po ba yung key takeaway nyo dun sa video? Anyone? Anyone? I'm inviting anyone or anyone interested to type their message or messages in the chat box and share them with us. Kung meron kayong key takeaway dun sa video na napanood nyo. Ako po, personally, ang key takeaway ko dun sa video is yung phrase na magbayad sa inutangan ng samahan ay hindi maapektuhan. So that's very, very important. You know, ang dami na po kasing relasyon ang sinira ng utang. Pagkakaibigan, minsan pati magkakapatid, pamilya, pati nga mag-asawa, nagtatalo sa utang. No? By the way, question. Is your spouse liable to pay your debt? Sige nga. Tingnan natin kung sino yung mga siga dito sa DepEd. Yung utang ba ng asawa mo ay utang mo rin? Kasi kakadiscuss lang natin. Sabi natin, maraming nasisirang relasyon ng kautangan. So, sa mag-asawa ba, are you liable to pay your spouse's debt? Sabi ni Sir Romel, no po. Matigas si Sir Romel. Hindi ako magbabayad ng utang ng aking asawa. Sir, manda kayo mamaya pag-uwi nyo, ha? Sabi po ni Miss Agnes, yes po, babayaran ni Mister ang aking utang. Bahala nang magka-doble-doble sa Shopee. Ha? Basta babayaran niya. Sabi ni Sir Mark, depende. Depende kaya saan, Sir Mark. No? Depende sa uutangin. Kung magagamit ni Mister yung inutang ni Mrs., babayaran. Kung hindi, hindi. Anyway, so this question cannot be answered by an outright yes or no. So, it depends. Ayan, tama si Sir Mark, depende. Kung ikinasal kayo before 1988, again if you were married before 1988, for loans contracted before the marriage, again, for loans contracted before marriage, ibig sabihin, before 1988, kung nagpakasal kami, meron na akong loan bago pa kami nagpakasal. The property regime is conjugal partnership. So ibig sabihin, yung loan ko na dinala ko sa marriage, akin lang. I repeat, akin lang. Hindi magbabayad si spouse doon sa loans na dinala ko sa marriage kung existing na yon prior pa sa marriage. And again, these are marriages contracted before 1988. Okay. For those contracted after 1988, siguro karamihan sa atin ganun na. No? Ang utang mo ay utang na din ng misis. Yan. So, kaya di ba sinabi nila, kung gusto mo daw yumaman ka agad, mag-asawa ka ng mayaman. Under the absolute community property. But then again, hindi lang nagtatapos yun doon. Kasi kasama nung yaman are the antenuptial debts. So, kaakibat nung yaman na makukuha mo pa nag-asawa ka ng mayaman, kasama din dun yung obligations nung mapapangasawa mo dahil kasama yun. Under Article 9, Article 94, Paragraph 9 of the Family Code. Now, paano naman yung mga inutang mo during the marriage? During the marriage na, kanina before the marriage. Ngayon during the marriage. In both instances, whether 1988, before 1988 or after 1988, the spouse is not liable to pay unless he or she consents. Okay? Maliwanag? Unless he or she consents. O sir, paano ko naman mapapatunayan kung nag-consent siya o hindi? I-video mo. Pagka mangungutang ka, sabihin mo, mangungutang tayo, bibili tayo ng appliance. Pumapayag ka ba? Hindi. Video mo. May ebidensya ako pumayag ka. And pag hindi ako napagbayad, liable ka. Kanya-kanya tayong diskarte. Anyway, so, but then, even if the spouse did not consent, okay? Even if the spouse did not consent, if the loan proceeds benefited the whole family, halimbawa, umutang para sa tuition, it benefited the whole family. Halimbawa, umutang para sa loan, umutang para sa pambayad sa rent, na delay yung cash flow mo, wala ka pambayad sa rent, umutang ka. So it redounded to the benefit of the family. The spouse, whether he or she consented, is liable to pay. Ganun talaga. So, kasi halimbawa, umutang para sa housing loan, it formed part of the absolute community to property. So, pati si wife, may-ari na nung bahay. So, liable din siya mag-pay. Ay sir, paano naman kung yan, umutang para sa house renovation? Tama yan. Because it redounded to the benefit of the family. The spouse, even if he or she did not consent, is liable to pay. Paano naman sir kung umutang si Mister para pang sugal? No? Sabong halimbawa, o yung mga online gambling. No? So, the loser bears the loss. Okay? Hindi kasama si Mrs. or si Mister sa pagbabayad sa utang na ginamit sa sugal. Paano naman sir kung nanalo? Aba, may share naman si Mrs. Ganon, that's the law, no? Yung proceeds ng loan, merong share yung wife, even if it was used for gambling or game of chance. Okay, so till death do us part. Hindi na death. Till death do us part. Sana walang magkahiwalay dahil dun sa mga nasabi ko. Ayan. So, for most of us, death needs no introduction. No? Alam na naman natin kung sino si death. No? Siyempre, hindi nyo makikilala si death kung hindi dahil kay borrowing. Borrowing kasi is the act and credit is the effect. No? So, we go to the definition of borrowing. So, what is borrowing? Basa-basa na lang tayo. It's the act of getting money from a lender or goods from a supplier with a promise of future payback based on certain terms and conditions. Okay, so self-explanatory na to. Sino nga ba yung mga taga-London dito? Sino mga taga-London? Sabi ng mga nakakausap natin sa DepEd, marami daw mga taga-London sa DepEd. No? Loan dito, loan doon. Yung mga best friends ni Judith tsaka ni Juna, yung mga hinahanap pagka due date. Marami sa atin yan. Okay, so but for additional information, ang loan po na i-discuss natin dito ay yung loan na simple loan. No? There are two kinds of loans under the Civil Code. Yung loan na kung tawagin nila hiram, bail, which means you borrow a specific non-consumable thing on the pretext that you would be returning the same thing based on the same condition when it was given. So yun po yung hiram. Basically, halimbawa, meron ka ng kamiseta sa kaibigan mo, the same shirt or object would be returned to your friend. So that's bail. On the other hand, there's loan. Yung loan, yun yung pag-uusapan natin ngayon, which is borrowing a consumable thing and you have the obligation to return not the same thing, but a thing of the same quality, kind, and value. So pag-uusapan natin yung loan. By the way, sa loan, yung proceeds ng loan, yung borrower, siya na yung nagiging may-ari ng loan. Rather, siya yung nagiging may-ari ng proceeds. Kaya nga, pag naglo-loan ka at nakuha mo na yung proceeds, pwede mo na siyang gastusin. Bakit? Because you become the owner of the proceeds. Kasi marami nagtatanong, paano kung na-misappropriate yung loan? Diba? Pwede bang idemanda ng estafa through misappropriation? That may not be proper kasi you cannot misappropriate what is yours. Diba? Okay. So, which leads us to the pivotal question. Meron bang nakukulong sa utang? Can I see hands up? Rather, a thumbs up for yes, a thumbs down for no. Meron bang nakukulong sa utang? Meron. Most of the responders say yes. Huh? Okay. Okay. The answer is wala. Wala. A debt is ordinarily civil in nature. When you say civil, ang penalty ng civil liability is only monetary. That means you only have to pay what was borrowed. Pag hindi ka nakapagbayad, presuming walang attendant circumstances na kasama, hindi ka pwedeng ikulong. Now, sir, bakit may mga nababalitaan kami sa TV na na umutang tapos inaresto, ganyan. Depende naman din kasi 'yon, no? Pagka ang pangungutang mo ay in-associate mo o sinalihan mo ng panloloko, panloloko, that becomes criminal. But then, ang ikinukulong doon hindi yung non-payment of debt. Ang kinukulong doon yung criminal fraud. Halimbawa, nag-falsify ka ng document to make it appear that you own something when in fact you did not. No? O kaya you pretended to be someone of power and of privilege and misrepresented it with the lender. Naniwala yung lender na may power ka when in fact you did not. At because of the fraud, napautang ka. Yun, it may qualify to estafa or swindling under the revised penal code. But then again, yun nga, hindi pagbabayad sa utang ang nakakakulong. It's the criminal fraud. Okay, let me just clarify that. Okay, so meron din nakukulong sa utang. Hindi nga lang lahat. Depende yan if the elements of the crime of swindling are present. Okay. But then again, dun sa mga nagkakautang, it doesn't mean na porke walang nakukulong hindi na kayo magbabayad. Especially now that we have the small claims law in effect. Siguro narinig nyo na yung small claims law. But for those who haven't heard the small claims law, this is a court procedure where instead of going through the usual court procedure, yung nung araw kasi, no, especially during the previous civil procedure, when you file a case for collection of money, dadaan yan sa maraming proseso, no? Dati nga meron pang motion to dismiss. Ngayon mabuti na abolish yung motion to dismiss. The tendency is ang gagawin ng depensa, hahabain yung time, no? May mga postponements, may mga answer, may reply, may counter-reply, may mga ganun pa. So in other words, before the parties could get into the process of litigation, matagal. Ngayon, ang ginawa nitong small claims law, it is summary in nature. Ang gagawin mo lang, pagka ikaw ay pinagkakautangan, you go to the court, municipal trial court, you go and ask the clerk of court where the court instituted as a small claims court. Pipirma ka lang doon, kukuha ka ng form, just a simple form. You will put in there your name, and kung sino nagkakautang sa'yo, attach mo yung promissory note if you have, or any other affidavits supporting your claim. That's it. 1 day hearing. You don't even need a lawyer. As long as the claim is below 1 million pesos, you can file it through small claims procedure. Okay, let me just clarify that. So, mag-ingat po tayo. Hindi porke wala nakukulong, hindi magbabayad, especially with the small claims court. Sa small, ngayon kasi, no? Pag pumirma ka sa kontrata, it's very hard to repudiate. The only thing that you can do is perhaps allege that your signature was forged. Forgery is a real defense in negotiable instruments. So, but then again, forgery is very hard to prove, no? Kahit sa husgado pagka pumunta ka in the courts of law. Unless you have a direct evidence or a video showing that someone has forged your signature, no one could really prove otherwise. Some nag-expert testimony, but then again, an expert testimony may be debunked by another expert testimony. But so much for that. Okay, so next slide. Nasa W's pa lang tayo. Ang dami na nating nasabi. Question, in the Philippines, the top purpose for borrowing is it A, for business, B, for emergency, C, for financial life goals, D, payment, or E, day-to-day expenses? Let me give you 10 seconds to answer. Sige nga, can you share responses in the chat box. In the Philippines, the top purpose for borrowing is, ano ba sa tingin nyo? Sige nga, let's see. Sabi ni Ma'am Gwyneth, day-to-day expenses. Sabi ni Ma'am Christy, day-to-day expenses. Sabi ni Sir Romel, D, payment. Business. Yan. Okay, so based on the 2021 BSP Financial Education Survey, the answer is day-to-day expenses. Day-to-day. Isipin nyo, nangungutang ang mga Pilipino para lang sa sustenance every day. This is a very sad commentary. Because that only means one thing. That means your income, rather, your expenses exceed your income. Otherwise, hindi ka mangungutang kung sakto, di ba? It's very sad. Kasi ngayon, pati na lang yung kakainin araw-araw, inuutang na rin. So, ganun kahirap ang buhay. Kaya nga kailangan mag-financial planning tayo, mag-financial education tayo. Okay, so we are done with the what? Next slide. Which goes to the next question, why we borrow? Bakit tayo nangungutang? So these are the typical reasons why we borrow. No? So these are self-explanatory. Sabi ni Sir Mark, sad but true. Let me just emphasize on the business. Do we borrow for business? Is it financially literate to borrow funds for business? Sige nga, is it wise to borrow funds for business? Sabi ni Sir Juan, yes. Actually, there are two warring schools of thought. The conservatives say, if you have savings, use your savings as capital. Bakit ka pa naman mangungutang kung meron ka namang savings? Di ba? O nga naman. Malugi man yung business na itatayo mo, at least you can sleep well at night na wala kang babayarang utang. Di ba? So that's one school of thought. The radicals on the other hand, yung medyo mas malakas ang loob, say, iuutang ko yung ipapangkapital ko. Why would I spend my savings, yung savings ko, i-invest ko yan to some other investments. Yung ipapang negosyo ko, iuutang ko. Yung kikitain ng negosyo ko, yun ang ipapambayad ko sa utang. Presuming, nakikita ka agad. So, apparently, both have legitimate points. No? So, depende siguro yan sa inyo. If you think kaya nyo naman, kaya ng cash flow nyo, mangutang kayo. Pero kung hindi, you use your savings. But personally, no, kung ako tatanungin nyo, and again, this is just my opinion, my suggestion is, if your business is a startup business, ibig sabihin, first time nyo gagawin yung negosyo na yun, no? At wala pa kayong kalam-alam, mas mabuting capital na munang gagamitin. The evil sought to be prevented there is, it lessens your risks to losses. Pag nalugi, at least hindi masyadong malaki yung epekto. On the other hand, kung ang business nyo ay continuation lang, expansion, working capital, mga ganon, pwede nyo nang iutang. Kasi ang presumption doon, alam nyo na yung business eh. You know the ins and outs, so mas capable kayong i-handle yung business thing. What else? Good credit score. Next slide. Okay, so this is actually the least among the reasons why you need to borrow. Actually, hindi talaga to ano eh. Ang credit score is actually not a reason to borrow. Lilagay ko lang yan dyan kasi, you know, in other jurisdictions, bago ka makautang ng malaki, susubukan ka muna sa maliliit to establish your credit history. And consequentially, your credit score. Ganito kasi yan, every time na nangungutang ka, meron kang grade. No? Ikaw ba nanununtok pagka sinisingil? Ha? O, ikaw ba mabait pagka mangungutang pero daig mo pa yung mga fugitive na ngayon na hinahanap sa Europe pagka ikaw sinisingil. No? And that only means one thing. Your credit score may be affected by how you pay. So, itong credit score, linagay ko lang to dito kasi for you to be able to borrow big ticket loans, susubukan ka muna sa maliliit. By the way, what's the effect if you have a good credit score? Ba, malaki. Pag magandang credit score mo, pwedeng lower interest rates. Of course, hindi yan automatic. Depende yan sa lender. Pwede ring lesser documentary requirements, no? Pwede ring lesser collateral value. Depende yan. The moral here is that if the lender knows that you are a good payer, syempre mas kampante siyang mababayaran mo yung uutangin mo. That's why pag malaki yung credit score mo, mas malamang, mahigit sa lamang, makakautang ka at makakautang kang muli. Okay, next slide. So we're done with the what, we're done with the why. Ito naman yung mga questions na kailangan nating malaman kung hindi pa buo yung isip natin kung mangungutang tayo. Diba? Nagdidili-dali pa tayo, mangungutang ba ako? Hindi, mangungutang, hindi. Nagtanong ka na sa girlfriend mo, nagtanong ka na sa nanay mo, nagtanong ka na sa kapatid mo kung mangungutang ka, hindi rin nila masagot. So ito, tutulungan namin kayo. Questions to ask yourself before borrowing. So this, just read na lang. No? Do I really need this? Sabi ni Dave Ramsey, do not buy things that you do not need. Again, do not buy things that you do not need with money you do not have. To impress people you do not know. Imagine. Bato-bato sa langit, ang tamaan, huwag magalit. Marami sa ating mga Pilipino mga ganyan. No? Hindi mo na nga kailangan, inutang mo pa. If you buy things that you only want today, tomorrow you might be selling things that you need. Needs versus wants. Things that you need and things that you want. Pagkabili ka ng bili ng things that you only want, tomorrow you might be selling things that you need. Must I have it today? So, very self-explanatory. How much do I need? Diba? Bakit ka hihiram ng mas mataas pa sa kailangan mo? Isipin mo, saan mo kukunin yung pambayad? Pag hihiram tayo, pag uutang tayo, always think that there is a concomitant duty to pay back. Hindi siya dole out. So, hindi lang basta makuha mo yung pera at magastos mo tapos na. When you borrow, there should be a concomitant duty and realization that you would be paying this later on with interest. Kaya alamin natin mabuti bago tayo. Can I afford the loan amortization? Ba? Ang pinakamagandang example dito yung you know when you go to malls, nowadays, let me check my time. When you go to malls, maraming naka-display ng mga sasakyan, di ba makikita nyo? 10% down payment. Meron nga 0% down payment, di ba? You went to the mall, nakapadyak ka. Oh. Pag alis mo, 4 wheels ka na. And mind you, nabalitaan namin, itong mga lenders na ganito, pag kumpleto ka sa dokumento, mabilis. I think in 2 hours or 3 hours, may lalabas mo yung sasakyan. Kaya lang ang problema, okay, I'm back. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Nagalit yata sa akin na sinabi kong wag na lang mangutang at ang utang ay kailangan. Mamaya we will discuss later on, no? The good debt and bad debt, dadaanan natin yan. So, suma total ng point ko dito, pag tinanong nyo yung sarili nyo of these questions and your answer to any of these questions is a no. Kahit isa man dyan, huwag na mangutang. Huwag na munang mangutang. Again, ang suggestion namin, pag ang sagot mo sa mga tanong nito, isa man sa mga tanong na yan ay no, huwag na muna tayong mangutang. Ibig sabihin lang kasi niyan, hindi pa buo yung loob mo. And pag hindi buo ang loob mo, ibig sabihin, hindi planado yung payment plan mo, saan mo kukunin. Baka mamaya na ano ka lang may perang available sa'yo. Yung pangarap, nandyan lang yan. Yung pinapangarap mong appliance, nandyan lang yan. Hindi yan mawawala. So, mas maganda yung makakatulog ka sa gabi ng matiwasay dahil wala kang obligasyon. Okay? So, I hope I was able to point out the important things here. Next slide. By the way, pasensya na kayo, madaldal talaga ako, no? Let me share you a brief story, no? How do you control your urge to buy? Kasi napag-uusapan lang din natin kung mangungutang o hindi. How do you do it? Let me share with you my experience, no? I have 2 lessons learned the hard way. Before kasi, ano rin ako obsessive compulsive din ako eh. Ako po kasi, ambisyo ko kasi magmotor, no? Ambisyo ko magmotor nung araw. Pagka may nakikita ko mga accessories, bili ako kaagad. Kahit na walang pera, bili, magkautang-utang. Now, only to find out later on, na naubos yung pera ko na napunta sa wala. Tapos, nagkaroon ng emergency, wala akong, nag-crisis. No? So, what did I do? First tip, sleep it off. Sleep it off. Pagka meron kayong gustong-gustong bilhin, at wala kayong pera, sleep it off. The point is, tanggalin natin yung atat. Yung atat kasi yung nakaka-cloud dun sa judgment mo kung talagang kailangan mo siya o hindi. The longer you hold it, the better. Tanggalin mo yung atat. Kasi pag natanggal yung atat, makakapag-isip ka na kailangan mo talaga ito o hindi. So that's the first tip. Second tip, huwag kayong magdadala ng masyadong maraming pera sa wallet nyo. Leave your credit cards home. Pumapasok naman kayo araw-araw, nakikita nyo yung budget ninyo, alam nyo yung daily expenses ninyo, dalhin nyo lang yung eksakto. Kung sumobra man konti. Kasi, pag obsessive compulsive buyer kayo, yung urge na makuha nyo yung bagay na gusto nyo, nandun parati. So if you have the means to buy it, you will buy. Kaya putulin mo yung means na mabili mo para hindi mo siya mabili. No? Discipline lang talaga. Especially yung number 1, importante yun, no? Yung atat. But then again, matulog din naman tayo. Baka mamaya ang problema kasi sa atin, minsan, our minds trick us, di ba? Kahit na want siya, isipin mo, need. Natural sa tao yan eh. Later on, we will discuss that. So, we're done with the what is borrowing, we're done with the why we borrow, we're done with the reasons why we borrow, we go to the where to borrow. Yeah. So, these are the entities where you can borrow, no? So, government agencies, financial institutions, savings and loans association. We at the Bangko Sentral, of course, we encourage, if you're going to borrow, you borrow from formal sources, from financial institutions, no? Yung informal sources, as much as possible, we discourage that kasi oo nga, mabilis yung pera. Oo nga, accessible, no? Wala nang kuskus balungos, wala nang credit investigation, wala nang papel-papel. Minsan nga, ikaw na yung lalapitan eh. All you have to do is to maybe sign or get the money and that's it. The only thing is, in the long run, you will realize na mas talo ka sa ganun. Why? Kasi ang informal sources, yung mga loan sharks, masyadong malaki ang ang interest. You know why? Most of them kasi are small entities lang, you know. So, they don't have the financial muscle para patakbuhin yung utang ng mailiit ang kita. So, ang tendency is, lalakihan nila ang kapalit nung easy access to credit is higher interest. And most of the times, very short term lang yan. Minsan, matagal na yung 5 months, 6 months. Bakit? Kasi gusto nilang umikot. Gusto nilang paikutin yung pera. Yung babayad mo, i-relend nila. So, ganun. So, and one more thing, pag informal sources kasi, masyadong malaki yung legal risk. No? Bakit? Kasi, these informal sources are not regulated. So pag hindi ka regulated, wala kang iisiping takot na mawawalan ka ng lisensya o mawawalan ka ng permit. No? Na pag may nagreklamo sa'yo, okay lang, wala na may kakancel na permit sa akin eh. Okay lang, wala na may kakancel na lisensya. Why? Because I am unregistered. Kaya mahirap ibig sabihin mas malaki yung chances ng aabuso sila because they have all the room to do that. They could harass you in collections. Ano ba bang importante dito? Where to borrow? We do not recommend kung saan kayo mangungutang. Bahala kayo. No? Siguro ang suggestion ko lang is you choose the lender with the friendliest terms. Yung siguro yung lesser interest, no? Or siguro yung more or easier documentary requirements. No? So, depende po yan sa inyo. Marami pong pwedeng pagpilian. Next slide. Let me check my time. Okay. Okay, so napag-uusapan lang din naman natin ang sources of credit. Nung pandemic, there are two famous sources of credit, no? Kasi 'di ba nag-online tayo, mostly naging digital tayo. Ito yung credit card tsaka yung online lending, no? So, doon sa mga may credit card na, makinig kayo, baka makatulong sa inyo 'to. Doon sa mga wala pang credit card, this is for you, okay? So, a credit card, basa-basa na lang tayo, based on BSP Circular 1003, is any card or other credit device intended for the purpose of obtaining money, property, or services on credit. So, it's issued by a credit card issuer, which refers to a bank or a corporation that offers the use of its credit card. Tawag dyan mga credit card issuers. Okay, next slide. What are the pros and cons of credit card use? No? First of all, convenient, di ba? Kung gusto mong bumili ng appliance sa isang department store or appliance store, all you have to do is to give your card. No more credit investigations, no more whatsoever. All you have to do is give your card, swipe it, you go home with your appliance. Ganun siya ka-convenient. Ganun din siya ka-bilis. Ano pa? Rewards, rebates. That's one of the... Ito, gamit na gamit ko to. I have two credit cards. Hindi ko na sasabihin kung ano yun. No? I have a credit card for cashback. Ibig sabihin, there are items that I buy, tapos nagkakaroon ako ng rebate. And then I have for fuel. So every time I go to the grocery, instead of me paying cash, I pay credit card. Tapos sa gabi, babayaran ko siya ng cash. Anong tanong mo yung asawa ko sa akin? Bakit naman kasi nagki-credit card ka pa? Babayaran mo rin naman ng cash. Ang hindi niya alam, minsan, at the end of the month, when I get the statement of account, I have like 500 peso off, 300 pesos off, 150 pesos off. Small things, pero pag pinagdugtong-dugtong mo siya, hindi mo siya makukuha pag nag-cash ka. So this is a nice to have. No? This is a nice to have. For those who want to get a credit card, piliin niyo yung credit card na tama sa inyo. No? Especially kung paano niyo siya gagamitin. One more thing, yung sa fuel, every time na magpapagasolina ako, takas ng gasolina ngayon, ano? Buti bumaba na. Instead of paying cash, I pay the card. And because of the card, the specific card for fuel, I get rebates every time I use it for fuel. What else? Deferred payments. Ito, baka hindi to alam ng karamihan na may credit cards. You can ask your credit card issuer if you can buy or purchase a property on deferred payments. Ibig sabihin nun, i-stretch yung payment period at zero interest. Sir, is it automatic? No. Hindi automatic na pabibigyan ka. Depende yan. Siguro pag mataas ang credit score mo. Siguro pag magaling ka magbayad. So, importante yung credit score talaga. So, you can try this, no? Pagka bibili kayo, you can ask your credit card issuer if you can buy something on deferred payment. Meron naman, yung merchandiser mismo, yung nag-aalok ng, if you have a specific card you can pay it on deferred payments. Balance transfer. If you have two or three credit cards, yung isang credit card nag-offer ng mas mababang interest, ilipat mo yung dalawang utang mo, ilagay mo dun sa mas mababang interest. That way, you can save on interest payment. So those are the pros. Ang cons naman, ang disadvantages, tendency to overspend. Bakit? Akala mo, Santa Claus yung ano mo, no? Yung credit card mo, swipe ka na swipe. Ala, sige, especially pag may sale. Pagka nakadaan ka sa mall na wala kang pera pero you have credit card, sige, tendency to overspend. High interest rate. Bakit? Because this is a collateral-free loan. Dahil wala siyang security, ang kapalit nun is mataas ang interest. Finance charges, pag hindi ka nakapagbayad on time and in full, merong interest. Okay, so and so on and so forth. Next slide. Credit card dues. Ito naman yung mga dapat mong gawin pag may credit card ka, no? Read and fully understand the terms and conditions of your credit card contract. Bago kayo pumirma, basahin mabuti. No? Basahin mabuti yung terms. Naalala ko nung araw, yung mga promissory note. Ang agreement to nasa likod. Pagka nilililit na letra, gagamit ka pa ng larga vista para makita mo. No? But then you have to really know the terms. Kasi baka mamaya, meron doon term na hindi mo gusto. Hindi mo siya pwedeng ma-challenge later on kasi you signed it. When you sign a contract, that means you agree with the stipulations in the contract. Diba? So you read the terms. Hindi lang to sa promissory note, it goes with all other agreements na dadaan sa buhay nyo, basahin nyo mabuti. Pag hindi nyo nagustuhan, pag meron kayong hindi naintindihan, tanungin kung bakit. Pag meron kayong hindi nagustuhan, lumipat sa iba. Marami dyan. Maraming lenders. What else? Number 5, this is very important. Keep your contact information updated with your credit card issuer. Now, marami sa atin yung lumilipat ng address na hindi pinapaalam doon sa credit card issuer na lumipat ka ng address. Now, after 2 or 3 months, hindi ka magbabayad. Kasi, mo, wala naman dumarating na SOA sa akin. Ba't naman ako magbabayad? Akala mo dun sa bangko mo manghuhula na nahulaan kung saan ka lumipat. No? That is a wrong practice. You know, if you're going to move to another address, you have to inform your creditors. No? Alalahanin nyo, nung umuutang kayo, pinagbigyan kayo ng maayos. So, ngayon, sa pagbabayad, magbayad din tayo ng maayos. Para makaiwas tayo sa gulo, makaiwas tayo sa kaso, at magkaroon tayo ng peace of mind. For any concern, contact your credit card issuer immediately. Next slide. Credit card don'ts. Self-explanatory na lang, no? Don't spend money you do not have. Diba? Yung sinabi ko kanina, yung sinabi ni David Ramsey. Do not spend on things that you do not need with money you do not have to impress people you do not know. Diba? So, don't spend money you do not have. Don't run up your balances to the limit. No? Don't purchase just because you want rebates or rewards. Ito naman, baliktad. Kanina sinabi ko, gamitin niyo yung credit card for rewards. Tama yun. Pero, wag naman na magsaswipe kayo dahil gusto nyo lang yung reward. Mali din naman yun. Kasi mas mataas yung interest kesa dun sa value na makukuha mo. Diba? So, balabalansahin din natin. Do not hide from your creditors if you're having trouble. That's self-explanatory. Okay, next slide. Okay, so, ngayon, alamin natin kung ano yung dapat gamitin. Is it debit card or credit card? Let's watch this video. Quick video. Ayan, may technical difficulty ulit. Okay, so while our technical staff are fixing the technical problem, matanong ko nga sa inyo in your chat box, kung kayo ay bibigyan ng pagkakataon na makalagpas sa utang ng malinis, magbabayad ka ba o hindi? Again, no judging ha, no judging. I want to know your debt philosophies. If you're given a chance to walk out of your debt cleanly and legally, would you do it? Sige nga, can I see answers? Yes or no? Sabi ni Ma'am Gwyneth, yes. I will go out. Yes, opo naman. Bakit hindi? Of course. Tao lang, no? Tao lang. Kung makakatakas ako sa utang ko ng malinis, bakit hindi? Halimbawa, umutang ka sa kaibigan mo, nagkaroon ng amnesia, hindi talaga maalala may utang ka. But siyempre iba yung mga moralists, di ba? The moralists would say, utang mo yan eh, kailangan mong bayaran, makakarma ka. The practicals naman say, oh, this is an act of, this is a divine providence. Maybe this was given to me on purpose. Siyempre, pagka-utang po, kailangan bayaran. Whether it's legal or a natural obligation, you have to pay your loans. Because somehow, nagamit mo yan eh. And it's just but natural for us to return the favor back by paying what we have. Okay, so we're back with the video. Can you play the video now?
Kumare ko, kapag ika'y nalilito sa dami ng mga bayarin na pinoproblema mo, paano magbabayad ng pinamili mo? Alin ang gagamitin? Si debit o si credit ang pang-pay? Kung pambayad ng groceries o items na maliliit, mas mabuting debit card ang gamitin. Ito'y parang cash din, basta sure kang merong pondo sa account mo. Hindi ka mangungutang pag si debit ang ginamit mong pang-pay.
Lagi pa akong within budget.
Kung big items ang bibilhin,
Credit card ang gamitin.
walang overspending pag budget ay susundin. Make sure lang na pagdating ng credit card billing, bayaran buo sa due date.
Para walang compounding interest or other charges. Pag credit card ay nasa swipe,
Credit mo ay nahahype, gumaganda ang iyong credit history. Pag-loan nagiging easy, reward points are many.
just make sure na safe ang iyong account info.
Pag may pinili ka mare, si debit o si credit ang pang-pay. Have a very simple lifestyle pa rin, ganyan ang civil servant. Ngayon alam mo na ang iyong gagamitin. Pag may pinili ka mare, si debit o si credit ang pang-pay. Debit, credit, pang-pay. Si debit o si credit ang pang-pay.
Yan, si debit or si credit ang pang-pay. No? So, actually, it's nice to have kung if you have both debit card and credit card, mas maganda, no? Depende na lang yan sa inyo kung which one you choose. Pero ako po, personally, mas gusto ko yung debit card. Kasi sa debit card, sure ako na hindi lalagpas yung gagastusin ko. Alam ko kasi kung magkano yung nasa loob eh. And, of course, wala siyang interest pag hindi ako nakapagbayad. But then again, kung wala namang laman yung debit card mo, kahit anong swipe, piga-piga mo dyan, wala ka talaga may lalabas, that's the time you go for credit card. So, depende na lang po yan sa inyo. Now, apart from credit card, meron ding isang famous loan stores. We call it the online lending. No? Sumikat ito nung pandemic. No? So, online lending refers to mobile lending application or websites, no, and other financial technology enabled programs where the services and products of financing and lending companies are made available. So, ibig sabihin to, lending through digital platforms. Nung pandemic kasi, since bawal ang mobility, no, walang mobility ang tao, instead of going to the bank and falling in line and filling up the application forms, dinigitize, no? So, in other words, pinadali lang yung process. Kung aware kayo sa electronic transfers, which I know most of you do, di ba sa electronic transfer, you can do banking at the pleasure of you lying on your bed, even at midnight. Ibig sabihin, you don't have to go to the bank anymore. You can do it electronically. Ganon din ang concept ng online lending. So, next slide. Dito lang sa online lending, there are also, of course, pros and cons. No? Like credit cards, convenient siya, faster ang approval, at saka accessible, saka flexible, no? On the other hand, ang disadvantage naman niya, just like also credit card, yung higher interest rates, potential scams, di ba? Nako, ang dami namin natanggap na complaints dito sa BSP before, no? Yung mga BSP and SEC, yung mga tumatawag na yung may utang yung co-employees nila, tapos tatawagan sila nung borrower, nung lender, haharas sila na kailangan makausap yung may utang. Ang daming ganun. So, eto yung mga kailangan nating i-watch out in online lending. No? That cycle, tsaka yung potential unfair collection practices. Minsan tatawag sa'yo at the middle of the night, ihaharas ka. Maraming tumatawag dyan, lawyer daw or legal firm, na yung account mo daw na-forward na sa kanila at sila yung maniningil. Maraming ganun. So these are the pros and cons. But next slide. Sa amin lang sa BSP, before we go to that, all we suggest is before you borrow from an online lending, you check if they are registered. If they are banks, check if they are registered or licensed by the BSP. If they are financing corporations, check if they are registered with the SEC. If they are cooperatives, check whether they are registered with the CDA. So, yung kanina yung konsepto nung regulated, napaka-importante nun kasi pag nagkaroon ng complaint, no, merong complaints mechanism na pwedeng ma-address yung concern mo. Unlike if you are not registered, mahirap, baka tumakbo or mahaharas ka, whatever. So, we also suggest na you check the relationship between the lender and the platform. Minsan kasi yung lender, iba doon sa platform. Yung platform, umuupa lang doon sa lender. So, minsan lumabas na yung pera sa lender, pero hindi pa nagre-reflect sa platform. So, sabihin, kasalanan ni lender, nailabas na. Hindi lang nailabas kay platform. Parang ganun. Pero syempre, on the borrower's point of view, labas siya doon. Syempre, ang borrower, ang gusto niya, makuha yung inutang niya. Kung ano man yung naging gusot doon. So, verify the relationship between the platform and the lender. Now, basic tips to protect yourself. Ginawan ko na ng mnemonics para mas madali natin maintindihan. Relax it. Relax it. You read and understand the fully all loans and terms and conditions. This goes for both credit cards and online lending. Evaluate fully your credit needs and capacity to pay. Baka mamaya hindi kaya. Tapos, you deal only with licensed or registered lenders. And of course, it would be better if they have accessible consumer assistance mechanism para pag nagkaroon ng problema, since online sila. Ito kasi yun eh. Pagka online transaction, syempre, wala kang physical na pupuntahan pagka nagkaroon ng problema. You can only deal with them digitally. No? So, kung ganun ang case, dapat meron silang matibay na consumer assistance mechanism. Kasi nga, walang limited yung physical offices nila. So, kahit man limited at magkaroon ng problema sa transactions mo, pwedeng ma-address yung problems because of the consumer assistance mechanism. Keep your proof of transaction, security, and only borrow from trustworthy online lender, platform, and partners. Okay, next slide. Okay, so we're done with the W's of borrowing. We're done with the borrowing 101. Now let's go to the debt management tips. Ito na yung mga tips to manage your debt wisely. Okay? Effective debt management tip number 1. Yan. Know the good debt from the bad debt. Aba? Meron palang bad debt. Meron palang good debt. Alam nyo, hindi kasi lahat ng utang masama. Mali yung connotation, mali yung mindset na bawal mangutang. Although understandable kasi ang nakakatakot lang sa utang actually is yung pag hindi mo nabayaran. Yun yung iniiwasan natin yung in case of default, what should we do? No? Lalo kung merong collateral na i-post. Pag hindi ka nakapagbayad, may foreclose yung property, yung mortgage, mawawala sa yun. Yun yung nakakatakot sa pangungutang, hindi yung utang itself. So, wag po nating i-associate yun, yung default sa utang. Kasi merong good debts. No? So, effective tip number 1 sa debt management, alamin natin if it's a good debt or bad debt. Ano ba yung good debt and bad debt? A debt is a good debt kung merong return sa yung maganda, o may return sa yung investment, o may tubo yung perang inutang mo. On the other hand, as the term suggests, that's a bad debt kung gastos lang at puro palabas lang yung pera. Yung pangungutang, essentially, hindi siya masama. Lahat ng mga negosyante nangungutang. Even the government borrows money. No? Minsan nga, di ba, pag nangungutang ang gobyerno, yung iba natutuwa kasi ibig sabihin nun, yung umutang kasi there is a specific project na pinaglalaanan ng utangin. And of course, ang expectation is may economic development. Of course, kung paano gagamitin at saan mapupunta, ibang storya yun. ibang side. So there are good debts and bad debts, no? Kung iisipin, no, merong mga utang na nakakatulong sa atin Example, sa ating mga teachers. I was an educator before also. Ano ba yung pinaka-ultimate goal natin sa buhay? Can you give me answers in the chat box? Can you share with me ano ba yung ultimate, di ultimate, ano ba yung pinapangarap natin sa buhay natin? Before we retire, ano ba yung gusto natin magkaroon? Sige nga, let me check. Debt free, sabi ni Sir Justin. Gusto ko wala na akong utang. Negosyo, kabahay, good example. Travel, housing loan. Kung gusto mo, kung ang goal mo is magkabahay, sa taas ng materyales ngayon, at sa taas ng real property ngayon, kung sweldo mo lang ang aasahan mo, unless 6 digits yung sweldo mo, makakapagbahay ka, during retirement ka na. For sure yan. Pero kung mangungutang ka through housing loan, na-achieve mo na kaagad yung goal mo. Diba? It's a good debt. Yun po yung konsepto ng good debt. Ang bad side lang nun is, syempre, because of the monthly amortization, kailangan natin maghigpit ng sinturon, kailangan natin mag-offset ng expenses. But my point is, good debts could help you improve your financial condition if you could properly manage it. Okay, so sige nga, we will try your debt philosophies. I will show some items on the screen and mag-thumbs up kayo kung good debt, thumbs down kung bad debt. Okay? Sige nga, tingnan natin. Next slide. Sige pa. Yan. Latest iPhone model. Is it a good debt or a bad debt? Good debt, sabi ni ma'am. Good debt is thumbs up. Bad debt is thumbs down. Again, baka nagkalituan tayo. Good debt is thumbs up. Bad debt is thumbs down. Sabi ni Ma'am Gwyneth Salvador, napakalaking thumbs down. Bad debt. Good if may ROI. Aba, Ma'am Marilyn, maganda yung point mo Good if may ROI. Sa bagay, yung mga smartphones kasi ngayon, meron ng mga features na pwede mo magamit sa vlogging. If you're a vlogger, why not? Sabi ni Sir Bai, thumbs down. Sabi ni Ma'am Manifest, thumbs down. Ano sa tingin nyo? Is it a good debt or bad debt? Uutang ka ng pera, pambili ng, dami naka-thumbs up, pambili ng iPhone. Sir, dito sa department namin, dito sa DepEd, ako na lang sir ang walang iPhone. Payagan nyo na akong mangutang para hindi naman ako nabe-behind, di ba? I feel being missed out. What's that term? FOMO, fear of missing out. Diba? But of course, whether we like it or not, whether no matter how we look at it, if the functionality that you need is just call and text and simple internet, you can have it with a simple phone. So no matter how you look at it, I'm not judging those who said good debt. I know you have your valid reasons for whatever it is, whatever they are. If it's a good debt for you, it's a good debt for you. But for me, I think it's a bad debt. Next item. Yan. Yan. Magkakatalo-talo tayo dito. Vacation loan. Uutang ako for vacation. Wala akong pera. Ang dami nakatthumbs up. Makapunta ako sa, sabihin nila, Ma'am, I've been busy all throughout. I want to go to Boracay. And the problem is I don't have money. Can I go salary loan for 1 week stay at what are famous hotels in Boracay? There are plenty of good hotels there, good accommodations for a price. So, mabubuang na po ako. I have to take care of my mental health. Is it a good debt or a bad debt? Good daw, basta dili malabian. Ano ibig sabihin? Basta hindi sumobra, malabian. Putin dito si sir. Maraming thumbs down. It could be a good debt for you, but for me, it's a bad debt. Kasi kung bakasyon lang naman, pwede naman ako magbakasyon sa kwarto ko, mag-staycation na lang ako, o doon sa kwarto ng anak ko. Wala nang makain pagbalik. Tama yung from Santa Ana District, no? Pagka mag-travel, gastos kala mo, Reyna or Hari, bili ng ganito, shopping left and right. When you get back to reality, lalakad ka na lang. Wala ka na pang Grab. Or wala ka mo ng breakfast for a week. Masama, di ba? Hindi siya maganda. Yung hindi ko sinasabing huwag niyong gawin, pero ang suggestion ko hanggat sa maaari, utangin lang natin yung mga kailangan natin. The needs versus the wants. Sabi ni Miss Marilyn, if you can afford to pay, then good. Tama naman si Miss Marilyn, no? Hindi naman palagi magbabakasyon. Tama rin si Miss Maria Concepcion. Sir, ngayon nga lang ako magbabakasyon since 2025. Bakit hindi niyo pa ako payagan? So, depende yan sa inyo, no? This could be a good debt for you or a bad debt for me. The bottom line is, bayaran ako. Next item. Yan. Sige nga. For the single, for those who are single, here, X, sabi ni Miss Guayna Salvador. Si Miss Guayna Salvador, pag magpapakasal siya, she wanted to be wise, no? And spend everything wisely. Bad, sabi ni Miss Marife. Bad, sabi ni Miss Cindy. Bad, sabi ni Miss Giselle. Bakit ka ba daw mangungutang? Para lang pambayad sa kasal. Not practical. Sabi ng mga ibang nakausap ko. Madali lang yan. Mag-imbita ka ng maraming ninong at saka ninang. Diba? Tapos lagay mo dun sa invitation card. We appreciate your gifts, but cash is much appreciated. Sabi ni Miss Giselle, not practical, it's a big no. Of course, it's a big no. Sa kasal po kasi, ang importante dyan yung acceptance that you declare for each other, that you would live and spend your life with each other for the rest of your life. No? More than the lechon that you're gonna eat, more than the spaghetti that you would offer your guests for food. Mahirap ikasal ng bongga, tapos isang kahig, isang tuka after. Tama kayo, Mang Gwyneth. I agree with you. No? Magpapakasal, gagastos ng malaki. After that, wala na. Kaya mag-imbita ng maraming ninong at saka maraming ninong. Okay, so nakuha nyo na yung concept ng good debt at bad debt. No? Ang pinapoint out lang namin dito is, hindi lahat ng utang bad, meron din good. Although sa pinakita ko lahat yun bad. Although, natural sa atin, lalo na sa mga matatalino, kahit yung bad, pipilitin maging good. Bato-bato sa langit ang walang magtamanog magalit. Deserving ko naman eh. You know, I've been performing very good these past few months. I deserve a break. I deserve a cell phone. I deserve a blah blah. Convince yourself as much as you want. But deep in your mind, you know which are wants, which are needs. So you go with the needs. I'm not saying na you do not buy things that you want. Napaka-boring din naman ng buhay. Pagka puro lang needs, di ba? Bigyan din natin ng wants. Ang sinasabi ko lang, kung may pera ka, you buy it. Pero kung uutangin mo pa, pero hindi mo naman kailangan, huwag na muna. Mag-ipon na lang muna tayo. Mamit tayo ng pambayad. Mas maganda yung mababayaran natin siya ng may plano. Okay, that's the first tip. Next slide. I will connect this later on kung bakit importante yung bad debt. Okay, let's watch this video. This is the next video.
The Eighth World Wonder. According to the great Albert Einstein, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. Compounding interest does work in wonders. With it, you can be a millionaire or go bankrupt by the time of your retirement. Investing can be one form of compounding interest. Invest your money on stocks or bonds and let it earn interest. The next day, your investment plus the interest earned will earn another interest. It's basically interest, earning interest. You'll become rich without even doing anything. The longer the investment, the bigger the earnings. But the earnings of compounding interest doesn't always benefit you. One way is credit card indebtedness. Every time you swipe that card and your bill goes up, every time you don't pay them on time, they gain interest. The interest gained is based on your current balance. The longer you don't pay your bills, the larger the interest gets. You'll end up paying more. Keep that going and you'll be overflowing with debt. Compound interest is a very powerful tool in the financial world, and you have the power to control it. Use it wisely.
Right. So that's the compounding interest. No? So makikita natin, compounding interest can be beneficial in savings and investments, pero it can be dangerous sa borrowing, sa debt. So kasi ang compounding interest, yun yung interest mo, nanganganak pa ng interest. No? So just like in savings, yung deposit mo na nagkaroon ng interest, yung interest na yun mismo, magkakaroon ng sariling interest. But in borrowing, conversely, in borrowing, yung hindi mo nabayarang utang, may interest. Yung interest na yun, over and above the principal, magkakaroon din ng sariling interest. Now, connecting bad debts and compounding interest, we go to the debt trap. Why? Because bad debts and compounding interest are the usual reasons for debt trap. Ano ba yung debt trap, sir? Yan yung situation na feeling mo hindi ka na makalagpas sa utang mo. No? Yung sasahurin mo sa akinsena, ibabayad mo dun sa utang mo nung katapusan last month. Yung gagastusin mo next week, iuutang mo ulit. It's vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle. It's a debt trap. It's a rat race. Ang cost po ng debt trap, bad debts and compounding interests. That's why it's very important to know which debts are good, which debts are bad. Yeah. Speaking of interest, ang interest kasi, hindi yan katulad natin no? Hindi yan natutulog. Tayo, we sleep at night. Ang interest tuloy-tuloy lang yan. So, kung gusto mong makaalpas sa utang mo, magbayad ka regularly para mabawasan yung interest. Pagka tinulugan mo yung pagbabayad mo, matutulog ng mahaba yung pangarap mo makalagpas sa utang. May forever ba sa utang? By the way, ano sa tingin niyo yung nangyayari sa mga utang ng mga namatay? Anybody? Sige nga, can I see responses in the chat box? What happens if I die and I have lent money to my friends? Does that mean cancel na yung utang dahil patay na ako? What do you think? It's a good question and it's a valid question. And most of us, hindi natin naiisip yun until merong namamayapang kamag-anak. Thank you agad, sabi ni Sir Romel Alyawan. Pag namatay yung pinagkakautangan mo, thank you na lang agad. Wala na siya utang, sabi ni Sir Romel. Sabi ni Sir Alfon, depende. Ang kaibigan ay kaibigan, huwag din natin silang baliwalain, sabi ni Mariru. Now, what is the rule? Pag ang tao na mamayapa, pagka namayapa tayo, lahat ng ari-arian natin will be consolidated into one entity, they call it estate. Yung estate na yon, para siyang tao. You consider it a person. It has a juridical personality. Siya yung sisingilin ng mga creditor. Again, pag namayapa ang tao, lahat ng properties niya, kung may property siya, will be consolidated into one entity, will be called an estate. Dun yung source ng payment for creditors. Ito rin yung maghahabol sa mga pinautang niya. It goes both ways. Siya yung magbabayad sa creditors, siya rin yung maniningil sa mga debtors. Yung net proceeds, yun na yung mapupunta sa heirs. So in effect, naapektuhan ng utang nung namayapa yung mamamana ng heirs. Kasi yung mamanahin ng heirs nakadepende pa doon sa net proceeds after claiming the obligation galing sa mga creditors. So, but then, ang tanong dyan paano sir kung kulang yung properties at malaki pa yung utang? It's a good question, di ba? Sabi ni Miss Mary Joy, anybody from the family could pay. It's a legal controversy. No? Maraming papag-uusapan dyan. Kasi if the family member would pay, subject to reimbursement. What if there's nothing to be used for reimbursement? So but that's a good point. Now, paano pagka yung property nung namatay, hindi na sapat para bayaran yung utang? Pwede bang singilin yung mga heirs? It's a good legal question. The answer is, yung liability nung estate, hanggang estate lang. It doesn't go to the heirs. Unless co-guarantor ka, unless co-maker ka, or unless surety ka, or unless what they call this, ginagaranti mo yung payment. Because that becomes personal. Pero absent those security contracts, the liability extends only to the estate. Pag kulang yung estate, wala na. Sorry. Write off. That's how the process goes. But in certain jurisdictions, some corporations, you check this, no? You check this with your accountants. They claim it as a deduction to your gross income. Under the train law, bad debts. Hindi to yung bad debts na kanina. Yung bad debts, ito yung uncollectible debts. May be claimed as a deduction to the gross income, provided you qualify with the conditions set by the Internal Revenue Bureau. Okay, so ang utang nadadala rin sa hukay in the sense na kahit namatay ka na, liable ka pa rin magbayad. Ang magbabayad yung estate. Okay, just to make that thing clear. Sa friends, thank you. If sa banks, depende sa rules nila. That's right, Miss Giselle. Next slide. Okay, so that's the first debt management tip. Know that good debt and a bad debt. Second debt management tip. Develop a strategy in paying off debts. So we will share with you 3 steps to pay your debts. No? Number 1 is debt stacking. Ano ba to? Pagka meron kang 3 hanggang 4 hanggang 5 utang, di mo na malaman kung ano uunahin mo. Kasi sa dami ng utang mo. Legitimate naman yung ground, no? Legitimate naman yung reasons na talagang kailangan ng utang ka eh. But then again, namumblema ka dahil kulang talaga yung cash mo para pambayad. You can try this tip, no? Debt stacking. Anong magagawin mo dyan? You list down all your loans based on the interest rate. You prioritize paying the loan with the highest interest rate. So on the screen, you can see, no? There are 3 cartons. One stacked against each other, above each other. Yung isa, yung nasa top, housing loan. Yung nasa pangalawa, vehicle or auto loan. Yung nasa pangatlo, maybe some de minimis accounts. So here, based on the debt stacking principle, you will prioritize to pay the loan with the highest interest rate. Advantages and disadvantages. Sa debt stacking, pag binayaran mo yung loan na may pinakamataas na interest rate, makakatipid ka sa interest payments in the long run. Kasi yung loan na may pinakamataas na interest rate, nabawasan na. Nabawasan na. Disadvantage, 3 pa rin yung utang mo. Parang wala kang sense of victory. Nagbayad ka na nga, parang hindi naman nabawasan yung utang mo, 3 pa rin. That's debt stacking. Next slide. On the other hand, there is what we call debt snowball. Let me check my time. Debt snowball naman iba. You prioritize paying the loan with the lowest outstanding balance. So baliktad. Kanina sa debt stacking, ang basis is interest rate. Sa debt snowball, you will prioritize paying the loan with the smallest outstanding balance. Advantage. May sense of fulfillment ka kasi nabawasan na yung utang mo. Imbis na 3, naging 2 na lang. Disadvantage, in the long run, mas mapapalaki yung babayaran mong interest payment kasi the loan with the highest interest rate, yun yung dumadjak up ng malaki sa expenses mo. Question, sir, anong mas maganda? Debt stacking or debt snowball? Depende yan sa cash flow nyo. No? Pero ako, again, personally, again, in my opinion, mas gusto ko yung debt stacking. Ito nga yung rational kung bakit kanina, di ba, sa credit card, sinabi ko yung balance transfer. Yung meron kang 3 utang, yung isang credit card nag-offer ng mas mababang interest, ililipat mo dun sa pinakamababa kasi gusto mong makatipid. So, ito yung principle behind that sa debt stacking. But then again, sabi ko nga, depende yan sa inyo, depende sa cash flow nyo. You can opt using the debt snowball if you have, when your cash permits so, or you can do otherwise with debt stacking kung sa tingin nyo yun mas maganda. Third, next slide. Third tip is loan restructuring. Loan restructuring is kakausapin mo lang yung creditor mo kung pa pwedeng i-reschedule yung payment, no? Ibig sabihin, like for instance, from quarterly, gagawin mong semi-annually, or from semi-annually to annual, depende sa pasok ng pera. Halimbawa, yung sa mga, if you're going to do an agricultural loan, di ba? Sa ating mga magsasaka, hindi naman anihan every day. Ang anihan usually every 3 months or 5 months. So kung monthly ang babayaran mo, monthly ang amortization mo, paano mo babayaran yung monthly? Ang kita mo sa 4th month pa. Diba? So those are the things that you can negotiate with your creditor. Sa loan restructuring naman, ang importante lang dito, kasi when you say loan restructuring, this is another form, a new contract. No? New contract between you and the creditor. Ang ginagawa lang dyan, mostly ang practice dyan, hihingi ng konting bawas sa principal, and then at some instances, nanghihingi ng condonation ng penalty or ng surcharges. Depende yan. Hindi yan automatic na ibibigay. Hindi yan automatic na ginagrant ng creditor. So, siguro pagka maganda ang credit score mo, baka pagbigyan ka. But then again, this is a nice to have remedy in case of default. Kasi you can try talking with your creditors. Kung talaga namang justified yung hindi ka makapagbayad because of a calamity or whatever, pagbibigyan ka. Next slide. Down to my last 5 slides. Third, effective management tip, debt to income ratio. You maintain a small debt to income ratio. Ano ibig sabihin yan? That ratio is the ratio between your total monthly payments and your total monthly income. Ang ideal ratio is not to exceed 25%. So, sa ating mga ka-DepEd, halimbawa, kung kumikita ka halimbawa ng 30,000 sa isang buwan, dapat ang binabayad mong utang is not to exceed 25% of the 30,000. That is how much? 12.5, 15, mga 16, 30, 15. Wag lalagpas ng 7,500. Pag lumagpas ka ng 7,500, hindi na maganda yung ratio mo, mahihirapan ka na. Pag lumagpas ka ng kalahati, crisis ka na. Kasi, ibig sabihin, yung bulk ng kikitain mo ngayong akinsena, kalahati nung ipapabayad mo na kagad sa utang. Paano yung mga needs mo? So, for you to have a better debt management scheme, your debt to income ratio must not exceed 25%. Kung mas magandang 5%, mas maganda. Basta not to exceed 25%. Next slide. Okay, all these things because ang mga creditors have parameters and guidelines in granting your loans, no? Sa banking and finance, may tinatawag na 5 C's of credit. I'm not just sure if this is still 5 C's of credit, no? Character, capacity, capital, collateral, condition, no? So, yung character, napaka-importante. Marami siya nagsasabi, ang yaman ko naman, dami ko namang asset, pero bakit hindi ako pautangin ng bangko? Diba? I showed them my capital, my equity sa bangko, hindi pa rin ako pinutang. There must be something wrong with your character. Remember, banking is based on fiduciary. It's fiduciary nature. Trust and confidence yan eh. Kung kanina, mababang credit score mo kasi pag naniningil ka, nagmumura ka. Kahit magandang financial muscles, magandang financial background mo, pag gano'n ang character mo, malamang hindi ka rin pautangin. Capacity, self-explanatory, capital, collateral, condition. This is very important. Maglo-loan ka ng, let's say gravel and sand business sa isang region na maulan. Tingin mo ba papayagan ka? Hindi. Paano mabubuo yung semento mo pagka tag-ulan? Maglo-loan ka ng surfing attire or beach attire, pero ang location mo nasa pusod ka ng kabundukan. Pagbibigyan ka ba? Hindi. Maglo-loan ka for a 5-star hotel in a 5th class municipality. Those are the things that the creditors would look into. Next slide. Lenders also, kung ang creditors, kung ang borrowers kanina may makamantayan, ang lenders kailangan din nila mag-respect ng obligations, ng rights ng borrowers, no? So we have the Truth in Lending Act, no? The lenders must follow transparency and disclosure sa loan amount. Kailangan walang hidden charges. Schedule of payments kailangan malinaw. Effective annual interest rate kailangan malinaw. Other charges. Pag meron kayong hindi maintindihan dun sa terms and conditions of the loan agreement, tanungin. It's your right to be informed of your loan agreement. Next slide. Lenders are also prohibited to, threaten to inflict violence or harm. Use obscene insults or profane language. Maraming nagreklamo, tatawagan daw sila, law office yung tumatawag. Kasi sabihin, this is the law office of blah, 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 blah. Your account has been forwarded to us. We demand that you pay immediately. Otherwise, we are constrained to file legal action against you. Mga ganun. Mga harassment, no? So, pag ganun, you report it to the regulators. No? If it's a bank, you report it to the Consumer Protection Department. If it's a financial institution, a non-bank financial institution, you report it to the SEC, no? Or the CDA if it's a cooperative. So, being borrowers, we also have rights, no? That should be respected by the lenders. Next slide. Okay, so tips to get out of debt. Stop borrowing and talk to your creditor. Pagka puno ka na ng utang, huwag ka na mangutang. Magbayad ka muna. Adjust your spending. Know your needs versus your wants. No? Pag hindi kailangan, huwag nang utangin. Pagka need naman, tansahin kung kailangan na ba. Kailangan na ba ngayon? O baka pwede pang next month. O baka pwedeng i-extend pa. Create or look for other income streams. No? Kung maaaring wag na munang gumastos, pag-aralan kung saan pwedeng magpakapagdagdag ng kita para mas meron kang means para makapagbayad sa utang. Those are just some tips. Nung pandemic, I have 5 minutes left. I hope ma'am could allow me. During the pandemic, meron akong kapitbahay. Di ba? Hindi tayo pwede lumabas ng pandemic, di ba? So, ang ginawa niya, buting-ting siyang kotse niya. Yung kotse niya luma na, buti-buting-ting siya. Hindi siya mekaniko, isa an accountant actually. Buti-buting-ting siya. Aba, di ba nag-lockdown tayo ng 3 buwan? Lockdown ng March, April, May, June. July, nag-open pero medyo qualified. Pagdating ng December, tayo ng talyer. Ang ginawa niya, in-invite na kami mga barkada niya, dalhin niyo yung mga sasakyan niyo dito. Libre, akong gagawa. Natuto siya. In other words, tayo mga Pilipino, madiskarte tayo. Given the right time, opportunity, we can create income streams. So, wag natin aksayahin yung ganong trait natin na madiskarte. Use it to improve our lives. Next slide. Remember, borrow only for productive purposes. Borrow only for productive purposes. Borrow only what you can afford to pay. Kung hindi mo kayang bayaran, huwag mo nang asamin. Pwede naman, pangarapin lang muna. Let's allocate time para makapag-ipon, or let's allocate time na lumaki yung capacity natin to pay para mautang natin. And third, remember, pay on time and in full. Pagka naman scheduled, monthly, pay the right amount. Huwag yung kulang. Kasi makakapekto yan sa balance ng ating payment. Next slide. And to end my discussion, let me give you a happy problem. I'm gonna give you a happy problem. Baunin nyo to ngayon pagkatapos ng lecture, and then if you have time, you can share it with Miss Racel or Miss Paula, your answers, and then i-forward nyo sa akin kung anong sagot nyo. What if you have a surplus cash? Itong tanong ha. What if you have a surplus cash? Would you pay off your debt or would you invest it? Magandang tanong ha. Ngayon, meron kang surplus cash. Meron ka rin utang. Tanong, yung surplus cash mo, gagamitin mo para pambayad sa utang or i-invest? I'm so excited to see your answers. Maybe we can, in some future time, we can still deal with each other, learn from each other again. Sabi ni Sir Alphon, invest 70%, pay off 30%. Magaling si Sir, ha? Nag-calculate na kagad si Sir kung magkano yung pupunta sa utang, magkano yung invest. Pay off debt para di na laki interest. Just as I've said, meron pang susunod sa akin. Thank you very much at sana po marami ho kayong natutunan sa mga scenario namin at if you have questions, I would be glad to address them after the second speaker during the Q&A. And thank you very much. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Attorney Clarence, sa helpful tips at karagdagang kaalaman tungkol sa debt management. So I'm sure marami pong natutunan ang participants natin in this session. And I think they also have a few questions. Again, bibigyan po namin kayo ng pagkakataon para magtanong later po before we end our session. Ayan. But for now, for our second topic, makakasama po natin si Miss Roxanne May E. De Jesus. She currently serves as the manager of Financial Supervision Department under the Financial Supervision sector. So her professional career at the BSP began in 2011 within the then Integrated Supervision Department. Initially designated as an off-site account officer, she later transitioned to a field examiner role, accumulating almost 15 years of invaluable experience in bank supervision and examination. Now, to tell us about BSP loan regulations, here is Ms. Roxanne May E. De Jesus.
Good morning to our colleagues from the Department of Education. I am Roxanne De Jesus from the Financial Supervision sector of the BSP. So, first, I would like to ask for your indulgence kasi kanina I've seen from the comments that there are many questions about the regulations, especially on the loan terms po. So I would like to ask your indulgence to reserve your questions at the end of our presentation po. So next slide, please. So to begin, I will be discussing today BSP loan regulations with primary focus on the salary-based general purpose consumption loan. So essentially, ito yung parang ang common term natin is yung mga teacher salary loans since most of the audience are from the DepEd. So salary-based general purpose consumption loans is governed by Section 311 of the Manual of Regulations for Banks. So, in this provision, we define that it is loan referring to those unsecured, ibig sabihin mga walang, although I think yung iba is iniisip nila na secured to dahil automatically na-deduct to through the APDS system ng DepEd. Pero essentially, it's an unsecured loans for a broad range of consumption purposes granted to individuals, mainly on the basis of regular salary, pension, or yung other fixed compensation. So, ang source of payment nito usually nanggagaling sa ating mga future cash flows like our salaries, allowances, and either through salary, saka yung mga bonuses natin in the future, like, so it's either through the salary deduction, debits from the borrower's deposit account, mobile payments, pay through collections, or the counter payments, or other type of payment arrangement agreed upon by the borrowers. So we would like to emphasize that it is not automatic na makakover ng regulation ng under Section 11 na kapag yung repayment source mo is from the compensation of the borrower. So next slide, please. So, Section 311 also defines what personal loans are covered as well as those that are excluded. So, later in our presentation, we'll find out why we need to know these, yung mga covered sa non-covered, in the relation sa tenor ng loans especially. So, salary-based general purpose consumption loans may include credit accommodations for education, hospital, emergency, and pwede pong pa-click ng susunod. And other household and other personal consumption needs. So next slide, please. So what are those excluded since pinaprovide din ng regulation yung exclusion like the credit cards, motor vehicles, and other personal loans which are covered by existing applicable regulations. So, for example, we have personal loans na ang pambayad natin is yung sweldo nga natin, pero iba ang purpose, like for housing loan, iba rin yung regulation na mag-govern sa kanya and other commercial business loans. So, yung pinagkaiba niya dun sa salary base na so for example, yung terms mas mahaba and it requires collateral and other documentation and mas marami and mas strict yung requirements kasi usually yung salary based loans natin yung ginagamit natin yung siya for emergency purposes. So mas onti yung requirements, mas mabilis din yung processing kasi mas pag yung ibang loans kasi na yung pinapambayad lang din natin is sahod, mas prudent yung regulations kasi natin, saka mas strict yung regulations when it comes to that. So, next slide. Sige po, next slide po. So a while ago, I mentioned na for other loans na paid through salary, mas longer yung term nila. Pero for the salary-based consumption loans, yung sa credit granting natin explicitly indicates that the original term shall not exceed 3 years but may no longer have maturity in meritorious case provided that in no cases shall maturity exceed 5 years. So ito yung parang 5-year rule natin on the salary-based loans which nako-cover niya rin yung mga teachers loans under the DepEd. So I think I've read from the comments na may concerns tayo about the sa loan term extension nung rule na to. So currently, the BSP has ongoing initiatives on reviewing a policy amendment involving the 5-year rule in coordination with the DepEd also, and also the banking industry. So we need to consider. So I think it was also exposed as well to the stakeholders, and review are in progress as of this day. So all the comments from that exposure are being considered naman po on recommending any amendments, if any, on this rule. So I think that ends my presentation, and thank you for listening, everyone. So if you have any question, we will accommodate it in the question and answer portion of the program of the webinar. Thank you.
Again, thank you so much sa ating resource speakers, Attorney Clarence Joseph C. Zosa at Ms. Roxanne May E. De Jesus, sa napaka-informative at helpful na kaalaman tungkol sa debt management at mga BSP loan regulations. So now we will proceed to the question and answer segment para sa inyong mga katanungan. But before that, let me remind you of our protocols para sa maayos na daloy ng ating Q&A. So una po sa lahat, please raise your questions sa chat box para po sa mga nasa MS Teams at para naman po sa ating mga live viewers sa Facebook and YouTube Live. Kindly comment your question po following this format. Your name po, _SDO followed by your question. Lastly, make sure po na ang inyong mga tanong ay directly related sa topic ng ating webinar. So queries that may fall outside the scope of the discussion may not be immediately accommodated and may be addressed through an appropriate channel. So we will now officially open our Q&A segment. You may begin raising your questions. Ayan, maghihintay po tayo ng mga tanong sa chat box. At yung mga nasa Facebook Live and YouTube Live, sa comment section po kayo pwedeng mag-raise ng questions. Ayan, may questions po ba tayo? Okay, so habang naghihintay po tayo ng questions mula sa ating participants, no, I have here a few set of questions para sa ating speakers po. So para kay Attorney Clarence po, ano po yung mga tips upang makapag-ipon kahit may existing loans?
Very good question. Para sa akin, wag muna mag-ipon pagka may babayarang utang. mas magandang unahing bayaran yung utang bago mag-ipon for investment. You know why? Ang utang kasi hindi siya 1:1. Hindi siya parang saving na pag nag-save ka ng piso, piso rin yung kapalit. Sa utang, pag hindi mo siya nabayaran, may interest. So pag hindi mo siya binayaran, mas malaki yung babayaran mo in the long run. That's why in financial planning, we teach that before you invest, before you save, make sure that all your debts were paid. Mahirap kasing magsisave ka on one hand, at the same time may babayaran kang utang. So dapat, before ka mag-save, mag-budget ka on how to pay your loans. So that's why in the hierarchy of steps in financial planning, ang unang-una is you budget. Once you know your budgeting, you pay your loans. Once your loans are paid, you save. Once you have savings for emergency fund, you invest. That's the usual stages in financial planning. So if you're gonna ask me tips on how to save when you have debts, my advice would be, and this is personal, you pay your debts first. Hindi kasi wise na, halimbawa, meron kang 10,000 pesos na surplus, meron kang 20,000 na utang. Unwise na magbabayad ka lang ng 5,000, tapos yung 5,000 isi-save mo. You know why? Kasi yung 10,000 na balance, mag-i-interest pa rin. Kung yung 5,000 isi-save mo, wala naman talagang goal, naghihintay ka lang ng pagkakagastos mo in the future, might as well pay it para mabawasan yung utang mo at mawalan ka ng obligation. I hope I was able to address your question. Thank you.
Thank you po, Attorney Clarence. No? So tama nga naman. Bayaran po muna natin yung mga utang natin bago po tayo mag-ipon para hindi po mag-increase yung interest. Thank you po ulit, Attorney. Na mula naman po sa kay Mark Tejano from SDO Misamis Oriental. Ang question niya po, how does BSP monitor and regulate lending institutions that aggressively market loans to teachers despite clear over-indebtedness risks?
Okay. So for the lending institution po, if it's a bank, and under the BSP regulation, we can regulate it. Pero yung, for clarification, yung mga private lending institution, it is under the regulation of the SEC. So, yung as to the aggressive marketing of loans to teachers despite clear over-indebtedness, kasi yung sa private institution po, hindi namin nakikita from the BSP kung gaano kalaki yung utang po ng mga teachers or ng mga borrowers dun sa tawag dito, sa private institutions. But for the banks, actually we are monitoring its compliance naman po dun sa, I think, the annual GAA regulation na dapat hindi siya bababa ng 5,000 na net take-home pay po. So, COA sa clear position naman din po on that. And we would like also to clarify na yung 5,000 na net take-home pay is not a BSP rule. It's under the GAA po, I think. Yeah. So if they violate naman po yung sa 5,000 na net take-home pay upon our monitoring, I think there are monetary and non-monetary imposition of sanction naman po on that. Yeah.
Maraming salamat po, ma'am. So sana po nasagot ni Ma'am Roxanne po ang ating question, Sir Mark Tejano. Now, question naman po from the FB comment section. Mula po ito kay Sir Jeril Flores Haranilla. Ang sabi po niya, nagpapautang po ako sa co-teacher. Valid po ba ang Google form as agreement?
Wala namang sa civil law, wala namang form na specific na kailangan, minsan nga, gusto mo magsulat ka sa pader, bakbakin mo. If it's a promissory note, if there's a clear promise to pay, for a clear promise of an unconditional promise to pay a certain amount, na may date, may ganyan, it will suffice, no? So, ang tanong siguro dyan is kung Google form, bakit ka mag-Google form? Dahil ba siguro maraming pa utang si ma'am, no? Ano niya na lang, ano ang tawag doon, yung if-fill, ano niya na lang, kumbaga, naka pre-existing na yung wordings, all you have to do is to fill out the data, no? So there's no legal rule or prohibition on the form itself, Ang importante yung content noong agreement, not so much on the form. So ako I would say na okay lang in whatever form, be it Google or whatever. I hope I was able to address your question.
Salamat po, Attorney. Na mula po ulit sa ating FB comment section, mula po kay Ma'am Josie De La Torre. Bakit po hindi pare-pareho ang loan interest rate ng mga lending institutions?
Come again po the question. Pwede pong paulin ng tanong, ma'am?
Ay po, ang question po ni Ma'am Josie De La Torre, bakit po hindi pare-pareho ang loan interest rate ng mga lending institutions?
Because it's on the discretion po ng bank on how to profile their customer. So like what Attorney Easy said kanina, depende yun sa credit scoring. So kung mas mataas yung credit risk na tinitake ng bank on a certain type of borrower, imo-market niya yun na mas mataas din ang interest rate because of the higher risk na ina-assume ng bank. And then depende din yan sa type of product. Kung shorter term, mas short yung time na nire-risk ng borrower yung capital na pinapautang nila sa inyo. So mas mababa they can give you a more lower rates other than dun sa mas mahaba yung exposure ng capital na pinapautang nila sa inyo. And it also matters kung secured or unsecured yung loan. So it really depends on sa weight ng risk na tinitake ng bank. So they have the liberty po to design or to come up with the interest rate na pasok sa risk profile ng borrower po. Ayun.
Thank you, ma'am. So nabanggit po natin yung risk, ano? So speaking of risks, mula po sa perspektibo ng BSP, ano po ang mga karaniwang risks ng long-term salary loans, lalo na kung ang bayad ay automatic na kinakaltas sa sahod?
Ito yung sa long-term extension. Kung i-extend mo kasi yung yung loan tenor, like for now it's in 5 years, tas gagawing 10 years po. Siyempre, mas malaki yung interest na babayaran ng mga borrower. For example, in simple man na lang, kung may 100,000 ka, sa 5 years, kung may 5,000 ka kada taon na interest, so nakakap sa 25,000 lang siguro or so yung interest. Pero kung ito 10 years mo siya, 50,000, which is kalahati na nung inutang. So you can look at it at that perspective. So sa banking perspective naman, yun nga, mas mahaba yung time na na-expose yung capital nila. So yung condition po ng borrower, nagbabago rin over those na mas matagal na time na nakapautang sila. Like, pwede silang mawala na trabaho, pwede silang masuspend. So yun naman po yung side sa banking. Pero sa side ng borrower, yun nga, mas malaki ang interest na babayaran nila.
Thank you, ma'am. So para po sa ating last question, bago po natin i-end ang ating Q&A portion, paano naman po namin malalaman kung legit at regulated ang isang lending institution?
Okay, syempre pagka yung lending institution ay bangko, it has to be registered with the BSP. Kami kasi yung regulator ng banks. We are the ones giving licenses to entities na gusto maging bangko. No? Now, for non-banks, yung mga finance institutions, microfinance, whatever, na hindi bangko, those are registered with the SEC. No? So, if you want to check, you can check it with the SEC kung registered sila. No? If they are credit cooperatives, no, or financial service cooperatives or multipurpose cooperatives, dapat rehistrado rin sila sa CDA, no, so Cooperative Development Authority. So for sure may mga websites yan. BSP has its own website, the SEC has its own website, and so with CDA, you can check the registration of the entities you want to check on the websites for siguro mas mabilis easier access kesa yung pipila pa kayo and titingnan yung listahan to check whether they are registered or not. So the bottom line is check whether they are registered or not.
Thank you po, sir. Now, bago po natin i-end ang ating Q&A portion for Attorney Clarence and Ma'am Roxanne, do you have any last pieces of advice po para sa ating participants in today's session?
Okay, sige. Susugan ko lang yung question kanina, no. Hindi ko kasi natanong ko kanina. Yung debt philosophy kasi ng isang debtor ganito. Which do you prefer? A short-term loan or a long-term loan? Short-term loan, ikaw ba yung borrower na gusto mo nang bayaran ka agad para wala ka nang iisipin, pero mabigat kasi buwan-buwan mas malaki ang kaltas? Or ikaw ba yung borrower na kahit mahaba yan, basta gusto ko hindi ko nararamdaman yung bawas sa akin buwan-buwan kasi mababa, but at the end of ang kapalit nun is mas malaki yung mga gastos mo as compared to short-term loan. Now, in both of them are maybe right, you know, in their own league. What matters there is ang dapat tingnan doon yung cash flow mo. Kaya mo ba na long term na mas malaki yung gagastusin mo? Or ang type ka ba ng borrower na gusto mong nakakatulog sa gabi ng mas matiwasay na kahit na mahirapan ka ng konti, pwede mo na siyang paiksiin. Kasi yung katulad ng sinabi ni Ma'am kanina, yung from 10 years, halimbawa kung ang utang mo is 10 years, pag ginawa mo siyang 9 years, baka naman ibabawas, ang dadagdag mo lang pang Starbucks lang ang halaga, di bawas mo na. Di ba? Kung ang amortization mo, halimbawa, monthly for 10 years is 8,000. Sinorten mo siya into 9 years or 7 years, ang dadagdag mo lang 400 or 500 pesos a month. Yung 500 pesos na yan, dalawang Starbucks mo lang yan, baka nga isa lang. O di wag na. Idagdag mo na lang. That's what I'm trying to say, if you get me. Thank you very much. Back to you, ma'am. You'll need something to say.
So, if you have naman po a clarification sa mga regulations, I think yung draft circular, sir, naman sa website ng BSP, you can access that on the policy amendment if you have any question. If you have to think, to see if yung mga proposed na amendments, I think nandun siya. Yun lang po.
Okay, thank you po,
Thank you po,
Attorney
Olga.
and Ma'am. Wala na po tayong announcement from the BSP. May gusto pa po ba tayong sabihin sa ating participants?
Yung mga questions na napadala nyo na hindi nasagot, maybe you can send it to Ma'am Rosel or our friends from the DepEd. We will see if we will have time to answer that. No promises.
Yes.
Thank you very
Okay
much.
po. Thank you po ulit. So this concludes our Q&A segment. Thank you very much po for your active participation and insightful questions. Maraming salamat din po, of course, sa ating resource speakers. Thank you, Attorney Clarence and Ms. Roxanne. So before we officially close the session, we kindly ask everyone to fill out the survey form. And meron po tayong survey form. And your response is very important as it will complete your participation for today's session. So we will give you 5 minutes to scan and copy the link. Pwede po natin siyang sagutan right after the session. And for our participants here in the MS Teams, kindly stay until the end of the session as we will have a picture taking. Ayan.